Story time! So today's story is The Goose Girl by the Brothers Grimm. So our story unfolds in a far-off kingdom in a far-off time where there lived the princess and her mother, the queen. And in this far-off kingdom, in this far-off time, there was the king. But this was not where the king lived, for you see he had died 3 years prior and was actually buried deep underground. So anyway, it was the princess's 14th birthday, so the queen thought, well, it's best for her to get married off soon because better late than never. So she did some shopping around, she found a lovely chap by the name of the prince, beautiful hair, beautiful eyes. His kingdom was the main exporter of sheep, but happy coincidences, right? So she sent off all the paperwork, it was all dandy, and so the princess was to be married. That's great. That's good. But the problem was, he was a prince of another kingdom, which is, a fair distance away. It's like multiple days' journey on horse. They didn't have cars back then. On horse. And the queen was old. She couldn't be bothered going all that way just to have some, bad champagne and bad cake. So instead, she went to her princess and she said, "Oh, princess dear, oh, princess, you are to be married soon, so what I want you to do is get on your little horse and ride there with a maidservant or something, and it will be fine. Alright? That's dandy." And, the princess agreed to this, otherwise the story wouldn't work. But the queen wasn't a bad queen, she was a nice queen. She was a loving queen, and she loved her child very much. So before she went, she gave her child a magical amulet of protection, and the magical amulet would protect whoever wore it. Stick your hand in a fire, it wouldn't hurt. Clonk on the head with a rock, no problem. Get stabbed in the back by an envious servant, foreshadowing, it's fine, it won't work. You've got a magical amulet that protects you. What? They just have them lying around apparently, it's amazing. So the princess jumps atop her magical horse, Falada. Yes, a magical horse. Can you believe that? You probably could, but I know what you're thinking. How do they know the horse is magical? What? No, that's stupid. How do they know that it's magical? I'll tell you how they know, because the horse told them that he was magical. That's right, the horse could talk. Checkmate. Boom. So the princess left the mother's kingdom, her own kingdom, on atop her magical talking horse, who was called Falada. Hey dudes, I'm Falada! And with her servant in tow, riding atop her nag. So the princess was astride her steed, her magical steed, Falada, who would interject observations like, "Hey, how's it going?" and "Say nay to drugs," and "My, you're looking equine today." Good puns. And so they continued for a while with the maidservant on her nag. What's a nag? That's a very good question, internet audience. I didn't know myself. Do you? Probably not. Well, what I did, I googled it using the internet, and apparently a nag is just an old decrepit horse. So imagine that. Imagine an old decrepit horse on death's door with the maidservant riding atop. And it's not. It's bumpy, like the hooves need changing. It's probably done like 20,000 kilometers or something. It needs to be put down. But no, the maidservant's riding atop of it. Anyway, after a while, after many hours of riding back and forth, this, the same length, eventually, the princess got thirsty. So she, and she told her servant, "Oh, servant person, I'm feeling very thirsty. Fetch me some water from the stream yonder." But the servant, if you will actually believe this, the servant atop her nag looked at her and said, "No, I will not fetch you water from that stream yonder." And whoa, no, this is wrong. This, like, the servant should be obeying the princess's orders. That's their job. What else are they here to do? Nothing. No, but apparently they're doing nothing. What? No, you fetch me the water now. Now, if you want to get the water, you do it yourself, like the rest of us. So the princess, well, she had no choice. The servant wasn't doing it, so she jumped off Falada and made her way to a stream. Now I should point out, Falada, the magical talking horse, is one of the few characters in this story that actually has a name. The princess, the servant, Falada the talking horse. And you would think that because Falada has a name, important character. No, for a talking horse, he doesn't talk a lot. I don't even know why they included him. Anyway, sorry. So the princess finds a magical stream, a normal stream, rather, filled with water. That you could argue was magical, but you would be wrong. And so, with her dainty hands, she, it's horror. There's like specks of dirt. It's terrible. She'll need to exfoliate and everything. And so she wept. Alas, what has become of me? But then her amulet said, "Alas, if only your mother knew, her loving heart would break in two." Yes, the magical amulet didn't just protect her from pretty much everything, it also spoke. Magic amulet of, yeah, okay. So, she took her fill, jumped back on her horse, and the princess on Falada and the maid on her nag continued. But the thing is, this is what you've got to understand. Even if you drink water, like, after a while, you'll get thirsty again. Because you've used up the water. So, you've got to understand, after a while, the princess gets thirsty again. So she once more says to her maidservant, "Oh, maidservant person, fetch me some water from the brook yonder." But once again, the servant says, "No, I will not do that. If you want to get some water, you will get it like the rest of us, and I should point out that at this point in the synopsis that I printed off Wikipedia, it refers to the maidservant as evil. So in case there was any doubt before, where you thought, oh, she might be good, just a bit rebellious, no, she's evil. It is explicitly stated that she is evil. So again, the princess jumps off a horse, finds a stream yonder, bends down. Her back is killing her. She bends down, but as she bends down, plonk, her amulet falls off her neck and floats downstream. She's not protected anymore, and the servant hears the plonk And well, she takes advantage of this. She draws a knife or other such pointy object and she threatens the princess. And she says, "Princess, change clothes with me now." And what could the princess do? There was a pointy knife. So they change clothes with the princess now in the servant's clothes and the servant now in the princess clothes. So the servant is now servant princess, and the princess is now princess. It would be the princess is now servant. Oh god. The princess is wearing the servant's clothes. Servant is wearing the princess's clothes. That's okay. Because apparently in those times, like, facial features weren't a thing. You just looked at people's clothes and they had a massive thing that said, "It's princess." And it must be the princess. Because you just judge people by their clothes. Anyway. But that wasn't all for the servant. No, who was dressed as she threatened the princess, now dressed as the servant, to swear an oath. She made her swear an oath, which basically boiled down to, "Don't tell anyone what happened here, alright?" And the princess, well, she swore that oath. "I promise not to tell a soul what transpired here." Now, the princess might be a bit of an entitled brat. Yes, but I'll give her points for being honest. Because she swore the oath, and well, she doesn't tell anyone about what happens. Because she's an idiot? I think? Maybe. Anyway. So after swearing the oath, the servant jumps up on Falada, the magical talking horse who she forgot about. And the princess jumped on the old nag, and they continued on their way to the kingdom. So they arrive at the kingdom with the servant dressed up as the princess on the magical talking horse Falada, and the princess dressed as the servant on the old decrepit dying nag. And the prince of the kingdom greets them, and seeing the servant dressed up as the princess, that must be the princess. Let's get married and it will be so fun and everything. And so the two of them go off and the princess is what does she do now? Well, she was ordered to work with the geese, to herd geese. She became a goose girl. Now, so the servant princess, the servant dressed up as the princess, who was now all in with it with the prince, she had got rid of one of her problems, the princess dressed as a servant. But she realized, hang on, magical talking horse, the horse could probably tell everyone about what happened. I should probably deal with him. So she did, she killed him. Well, she didn't. She ordered someone to kill him. She ordered the slaughterer to... Whoa, not cool, man! And whoa, the princess dressed as the servant who was now working as a goose girl was very distraught about it. You would imagine. The magical talking horse, head chopped off. So she went to the slaughterer and she pleaded, she begged to the slaughterer to nail the head of Falada above a doorway she passed by every day on her way to the geese. I guess because it's sentimental or it's a bit morbid, like a dripping horse head just there. Anyway, so one day, on a whim, passing by Falada, she looks up and she talks to him and she says something in rhyme which I have written down. Falada, Falada, thou art dead, and all the joy in my life has fled. Which would win you awards. You would get like an Emmy and a Tony and an Oscar or something. You know, all the awards for that lines of poetry. But not in this time, not in this time. But magical talking horse head, it's magic. It replies, alas, alas, if your mother knew, her loving heart would break into the same thing her magical amulet told her. It's the, coincidence? I don't know. And, this freaked out the princess just as a servant, now a goose girl, should be dead. But it was very convenient because for the rest of the story, the horse's head doesn't say anything. Like, you could say those lines, it just couldn't say anything else. You would think it would be important. It's not. You would think the line, alas, alas, if only your mother knew, her loving heart would break into. The horse said it. The amulet said it. You would think that would be important. It's never brought up again. Never. So the goose girl continues along to her work, where she herds geese. But you know what? She's not even working. She's just sitting there. She's just sitting there combing her hair because she's a slacker. So she's sitting there combing her hair, and a goose boy by the name of Conrad, yes, Conrad, he has a name. This is a character with a name. He must be important. So Conrad walks up to the goose girl with his, hey, how's it going? You like geese? I like geese. Routine. But the princess, dressed as the servant, who is now the goose girl, would have none of that. So she says in rhyme once more, blow, wind, blow, I say, take Conrad's hat away. Do not let him come back today until my hair is combed today. And you know what happens? Wind picks up, blows off Conrad's hair, and he runs, not his hat rather, and he runs away after. She can control the wind. She can control the wind. She is, what? When was this ever brought up? I don't know. But apparently she can control the wind, and she uses it to blow people's hats away, which is something I would do. Again, you would think this was important, but it's not. It's not. Anyway, so Conrad runs away in fear and after his hat. Mainly in fear. So then Conrad goes to the king because it was a very progressive kingdom and the king was happy to see any and all goose boys about any grievances they might have on the subject of their work. So Conrad goes to the king, my king, my king, my king, my king, my king, I have a problem. And the king's like, oh, okay, talk to me, boy, you're a right old chap. Oh, I will not work as a goose boy any longer. I am scared of this goose girl. She made wind blow at my hat, and my hat was blown away, and it was scary indeed. And well, I mean, a girl who could command the winds, that is important for military reasons for the king. So the king ordered Conrad to go back to work. Well, I mean, you're the king, I guess. And he followed Conrad to the work. Follow. So the king hid in the bushes, and the Conrad was here, and the princess was still combing her hair. She had a lot of hair. So the princess combing her hair, Conrad walking up to her. Hey, goose girl, I'll let you goose my geese. And the king watching the whole shebangle unfold. And the goose girl once more looks up at Conrad and is like, no. And incites the magical wind charm that rhymes that I have temporarily forgotten, but she doesn't. And the wind once more, and Conrad's hat once more, and the king, oh wow, that's pretty good actually. So the king comes to the goose girl servant, princess lady, and he's like, come, come inside and tell me your story. And, you know, they do that. So the king is trying to get the story out of the princess dressed up as the servant who was the goose girl. But, as stated before, the princess is honest and she adheres to her oath for some unknown reason. Now, I'm not going to tell you what happened because I swore my word not to tell you. And so this... Oof. Well, you're an honest chap and I respect that. How about this? Hear me out. No, just hear me out. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we'll go to the kitchen. No, hear me out. Yep, stay with me. We'll go to the giant iron oven they have. It's a good idea. Follow me. And what I'm gonna open the door and you're gonna get in. Okay. Hear me out. And then I will close the door and you'll be inside the iron oven. Oh, and then you can tell your story to the iron oven. And it just might so happen to be that I might be listening. And so the princess, although she was a stickler for her oath, had no qualms about using loopholes, and which really, personally, I think is quite dishonest. But that's just me, and I am not the princess / slave girl / goose girl / anyone in this story. So they go to the kitchen, chop, rabba, those are the cooks, and they go to the giant oven, and the king opens it, and the princess clambers through, and so the king once again closes the giant oven. Good cluck, clunk, clunk. And then the princess tells the king everything. Everything about the queen sending her over, about how she had a magical amulet and at the river it fell off and the servant person threatened her and made her swear the oath and change clothes and how her magical horse was killed, etc., etc. And the king believed her. The king believed the crazy goose girl in the oven because, it was a good story, I reckon. So the king let her out and they began scheming how to best get rid of the servant dressed as the princess, who was now the king's daughter-in-law. Yeah, so they got to scheming. And because all schemings need good clothes, the king sent a tailor to make the princess, who was dressed as a servant, dressed as a goose girl, a wonderful blue dress, like Elsa from Frozen had. So she puts it on, brand new person. Look at these highlights, they're amazing. Look at this dress, you're jealous. You're jealous of this dress, and it's amazing. This dress is amazing. So then what they do, there's a massive banquet where the prince is there, with the servant dressed as the princess, who I guess is technically a princess because she married a prince, but technicalities. So the prince is there talking to the princess, the servant princess, who, I don't know, they're talking about. But all I'm saying is that I think servants should have a greater age increase. I don't know, she's, working for servants' rights or something, I don't know, it's something stupid. So the king comes in. Oh, princess, he's talking to the servant princess. Oh, princess, let me tell you a story. And so the princess goes, oh, golly, I love a story. And she notices the king. She also notices the princess who was dressed up as a servant, who was a goose girl, now dressed up as another princess. And, you would think that she would recognize her, but she doesn't. She's wearing a new dress. Facial features? Not a thing. Dress, new dress, completely different person. Oh golly, I love a story. And so the king he told everyone the story of of the servant princess and of the princess dressed as a servant, dressed as a goose girl, dressed as a princess, and the whole story. And this whole time, like, you would think it would click. Like, the servant princess would be like, hang on, I recognize these key events. It seems somewhat similar to what I did. You would think that would happen. Nah. Apparently, she's an idiot as well. It's convenient. So after telling the servant princess the story of her own life, he said, "So, princess, what would you suggest as just punishment?" And the princess, not picking out important plot points such as a magical talking horse named Falada getting killed by her, not picking that out, she says, and I have it written down because it's awfully specific, she says that the person is to be thrown naked into a barrel and dragged along by 2 white horses until she is dead. So the king says, "Ha ha ha ha, you have chosen your own punishment." But you would think, like, oh, this is a story of your life. This is what you did. Tell me how you would be punished. Oh, golly, I don't know, free tap dancing lessons for a year and lots of candy floss. Not to be thrown naked into a barrel and be dragged along by 2 white horses, specifically white. I'm not quite sure on that until her untimely demise. No, but she's an idiot. So the king rips off her dress, throws her in a barrel, and she's dragged along by 2 white horses until her death. And the prince, who was quite recently married to her, oh gosh, you mean she was a servant all along? Boy, did I dodge that bullet. And the servant population in this kingdom suffered many reforms because, well, everyone's a fickle lot. The princess in her magical blue dress gets married to the prince, and they all live happily ever after. Like, you would, I don't know, that's a very evil way to die. But I guess it's okay, because as previously stated in the synopsis, the servant was evil. It was written on paper. Yeah. So, that's the story of the Goose Girl. The end?